Hello and welcome to this whole body refresh yoga flow. We'll start seated on our mat. Feel free to sit in whatever position feels comfortable to you right now. Close down your eyes and center your focus on your breath. Begin by setting an intention as you join me on your mat today. This could be just to feel refreshed and alive, to feel a little more connected to your body, or simply to enjoy these moments of showing up for yourself and your body. When you're ready, make your way into tabletop position. Shoulders over hands, hips over knees. Finding some light movement here, and we'll begin with a few rounds of cat-cow. Lifting the crown of the head and the tailbone towards the sky, drawing the shoulders down the back for cow pose, and curling the tailbone under, rounding the spine, gazing towards the navel for cat pose. Moving at your own pace. Bringing more fluidity into the movement now. One swift motion as you transition back and forth between cat and cow pose. Softly and gently waking up the spine. Don't worry about being perfect for this yoga flow or any yoga flow ever. Just move in a way that feels good to your body. Move in a way that feels intuitive to you. And returning to a neutral spine in tabletop position, beginning to take a C shape with the spine. So moving your head and hips towards the right side, elongating the left side of the body, and switching sides back and forth. Moving at your own pace. And when you're ready, returning back to a neutral spine. Tuck the toes under, lift the knees, and push back to downward facing dog. Pedaling out the feet in your down dog, waking up the legs, feeling a nice stretch through the calves, the back of the knees, the hamstrings. And then finding a few breaths in stillness in your down dog. Walk the feet forward towards the hands, coming into a forward fold, keeping a slight bend in the knees for now as you let your body hang over the legs. Grabbing the elbows and letting the body sway side to side slightly. Release the arms and let the upper body hang heavily. You can straighten the legs just a little bit more if that feels good to you. And inhale to rise as you bring the hands overhead. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, hands overhead, gaze towards the fingertips. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step back into plank. Inhale and exhale, lower down chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Walk the feet forward to forward fold. Rise up, hands overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale once more, hands overhead. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step back into plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. And now finding some fluidity in our downward facing dog as we roll the spine forward into plank pose and bend the knees, push back into downward facing dog. Taking a few rounds of this, waking up the spine, again, moving intuitively in a way that feels good and natural for you. Trying to imagine that your spine is like a wave. And finding stillness in your downward facing dog again. Bring the right hand towards the left calf or ankle, twisting through the side body as you take a deep breath in, expanding through the side of the body, and switch. We'll take it to the other side as you reach the left hand over towards the right calf or ankle. Opening up through the right side body, breathing deeply into the lungs, and return back to your downward facing dog. Lifting the right leg up towards the sky, and bring the foot forward, plant the foot in between the hands, rising up into your crescent lunge. Turn the back toes out, heel down into warrior two. Finding strength and stillness. And reverse your warrior. Left hand comes back towards the back leg, right hand reaches for the sky. And exhale, plant the hands to frame the front foot. Finding some light movement here as you rock back and forth. And bringing that left foot forward to meet the right, coming into forward fold. Exhale, fold all the way down. Inhale, stand, hands overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, hands overhead, gaze follows. And exhale, fold all the way down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step or hop back to plank and lower down chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, push back to downward facing dog. Inhale, roll the spine forward into plank. Again, imagining that the spine is like a wave crashing on the shore. Exhale, bend the knees, push the hips back to downward facing dog. And again, moving with intuition, taking yourself through a few of these rolls. Again, finding your downward facing dog. Plant the left hand, reach the right hand for the left ankle. Twisting and opening up, breathing into the left side body. And switch, plant the right hand and reach for the right ankle. Coming back into your downward facing dog, feet together. Lift the left leg up towards the sky, keep the hips squared. And bring the left foot forward between the hands. Rise up into your crescent pose. Turn the back toes out, bring the heel down, find warrior two. Finding that strength and stillness. Coming back to the intention that you set at the beginning of our practice. Right hand reaches back, left hand to the sky, reverse warrior. Transitioning back through warrior two. Plant the hands to frame either side of the foot into high lunge, rocking back and forth, finding some movement here. Plant the hands, step back into plank. Exhale, chaturanga, lower down. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Lifting the right leg up towards the sky, bend the knee, open the hip. Finding a few circles with the knee, and circle out the ankle. And bringing the right foot forward, plant it in between the hands. Finding some movement as you rock back and forth. Lift the hands up towards the sky and straight into our warrior two. Reverse your warrior. And windmill the arms down, hands on either side of the foot. This time, lowering down the back knee. Inhale, hands overhead. And exhaling here. You can keep the hands overhead if that feels good to you. You can also lower them down alongside the body, bring them to your hips, whatever feels good to you in this moment. Untuck the back toes. Plant the hands to frame the front foot, straighten the right leg, and push the hips back to find your half split. Inhale to a flat back, and exhale, fold. Inhale, shift forward, lift the back knee, and step back into plank. Lower down, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Finding just a moment of stillness in your downward facing dog, preparing for the other side as you lift the left leg up towards the sky, bend the knee, and open the hip. Taking circles with the knee, waking up that leg, that hip. Step forward into high lunge. Again, finding some movement as you rock back and forth here. And lift the hands straight into warrior two. Open up towards the right side. And right arm comes back, left hand up towards the sky. Reverse warrior. Windmill the arms down to frame the front foot. Back to your high lunge. Lower the back knee down. And inhale, hands towards the sky. You can untuck the back toes if that feels okay for you. Really allowing yourself to sink into the hips, feeling an opening through that front of the right leg. And again, you can bring your hands down to your hips if that feels more comfortable for you. Bring the hands down to the mat to frame the front foot. Push the hips back, straighten the leg for a half split. Inhale to a flat back and exhale, fold. Inhale, come back into your high lunge and step back into plank. Exhale, chaturanga, and hold at the bottom. Keep those arms hugged in tight, really challenge yourself here, and inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Rising onto the toes, step or hop forward into your forward fold. Exhale, fold all the way down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise to stand, hands overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, hands overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Now heel toe the feet out a bit wider, maybe just as wide as your yoga mat. Grabbing the elbows, let the body sway side to side. Plant the hands, halfway lift. Walk the feet back together and step or jump back into plank. Exhale, lower down chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Lift the right leg up towards the sky, bend the knee, open the hip. Circling the knee a few times. And straightening the leg. And plant the foot behind you to the left side. Lift the right arm up and overhead. Open the heart towards the sky. Wild thing. Holding for a few breaths. Feeling your heart lift and open skyward. And as you come back, coming back through side plank. So bring the top knee in towards the armpit. Reaching the arm overhead. And slowly, keeping the arm in the air if you can, plant the right foot towards the top of the mat, back into your high lunge. Raise the arms up towards the sky, and turn the back foot out, warrior two. Straighten the front leg, lean forward as if you're reaching for something in front of you, and then reach down for the ankle, or maybe all the way to the ground if that feels comfortable to you. Reach the left arm up towards the sky, triangle pose. Engage the core and gently lift back up. Bend the front knee, warrior two. Windmill the arms down to frame the front foot. Drop the back knee down. Lift the hands up towards the sky. Untuck the back toes. Sinking into the hips here, feeling a nice opening in the front of the left leg. Hands back down, lift the back knee, and step back into downward facing dog. Shift forward into plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Taking a moment to find stillness, connecting to your breath. Raise the left leg up towards the sky. Bend the knee, open the hip. finding a few circles with the knee. Straightening that leg, reaching the toes towards the sky. And plant the foot behind you, heart opens skyward, left arm reaches towards the top of the mat, wild thing. Breathing into the left side body. Coming back through side plank on the right side with the knee bent. And again, moving so slowly as you place the foot next to the hand. Lift both arms up towards the sky, high lunge. And turn the back foot out, warrior two. Straighten the front leg, reach forward. Left hand comes down either on the shin, ankle, or inside of the foot, triangle pose. Gazing up towards the fingertips. And gently coming back up into warrior two. Windmill the arms down, plant the hands, step back into plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Come high onto the toes and step or hop forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to stand, arms overhead. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, hands overhead. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Walk the feet out wide and sitting the hips down into your malasana. Bring the hands to heart center if this feels comfortable for you. And you can either find stillness or maybe experimenting with a little bit of rocking back and forth. And gently coming to sit back onto your mat. Bring the feet out in front of you. Inhale, raise the hands overhead with a straight spine. Exhale, reach forward towards the toes, forward fold. Finding a few moments of stillness here. A few moments just to be with your breath. Coming back to the intention that you set at the beginning of this practice. Inhale as you rise up, lift the hands overhead. Exhale, reaching the right arm towards the pinky toe side of the left foot. And if it feels comfortable to you, you can reach the left arm behind the back for the crease of your right hip. Implementing just a little bit of a twist here. Release and inhale, hands overhead, sitting tall. Exhale, left hand to outside of right foot. Bringing the right hand behind the back into the crease of the hip if that feels okay to you right now. Release and inhale, hands reach towards the sky. And finding your way back into tabletop. Taking a few cat-cows here. Maybe noticing the difference that you feel in your spine since the beginning of this practice. Finding some fluidity with the spine as you roll forward and back. Again, thinking of that wave-like motion. Stack the hips above the knees. Walk the hands forward and sink the chest down towards the ground for puppy pose. You can plant the forehead on the ground or bring the chin to the mat and gaze forward towards the fingertips for a little bit of a deeper stretch. It's okay if the chest doesn't reach the ground. No need. Slowly lift up and come back to seated on your heels. And rising up into a kneeling position. Inhale, lift the hands overhead, gaze towards the fingertips, lift the heart towards the sky. Just a small back bend here. Exhale, hands down by your side. Inhale once more, hands overhead, lean back and open the heart. And exhale, bring the hands to the low back. Gently lean back. This does not have to be anything crazy. You can stay here. But if you're feeling more open and it's comfortable for you, walk the hands down along the legs, resting on top of the ankles. You can curl the toes under if you'd like some extra height here, or have the toes untucked. Open the heart towards the sky and think of lifting up from the heart center as you root down through the knees and feet. Breathing deeply. And when you're ready, slowly release. Coming back into tabletop. Finding whatever light movement feels good here. And now keeping the knees where they are, but bringing the feet out just a little further towards the edge of your mat and sitting back on the mat between the feet. Bring the hands back behind you, maybe coming down to the elbows. If the elbows feels a little too far, you can absolutely just stay on the hands leaning back. If you need a little more, maybe coming down all the way onto your back with the hands resting alongside you. Taking a few breaths to really sink into this pose, feeling the quads and the hip flexors open up and release any tension. And just breathing and being. And when you're ready, slowly making your way back into tabletop and pushing back into downward dog for the last down dog of the class. Taking any movement here that feels good to you, maybe pedaling out the legs, finding a sway side to side with your hips. Bring your knees back down to the mat and finding your way to lying all the way back onto your mat. Bring the knees into the chest and gently rock side to side. And grabbing both feet for happy baby. Finding some light rocking back and forth. Hug the knees back into the chest, and keeping the knees bent and together, let them both fall over towards the left side. Reaching the right hand out towards the right, gazing towards the fingertips. Coming back through center, bring the legs over towards the right side. Left arm out towards the side and gaze follows. Hug the knees back into the chest. And release the arms and the legs out. Let the feet fall open. Let the palms face up. Just find a comfortable position here. Our last pose of the class, Shavasana. Taking a moment to just be here on your mat. Being present in this moment. Feeling gratitude for the way that you just showed up for yourself. Feel free to stay here as long as you'd like. Whenever you're ready, make your way into a comfortable seated position. Bring your hands to heart center. Thank you so much for joining me on your mat today. It was an honor to practice with you, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Namaste.